he's young enough to where it's not necessarily going to hurt or harm his career. We're going to be patient with him. We want this thing to be 100% back to normal, and so there's no rush on it. He may not have opportunity to win Rookie of the Year or be on first or second team All Rookie because he may not play enough games. I don't know, but he's going to work his tail off. We feel like the doctors and our training staff are top notch, and so he's going to do his part by working his tail off and getting out on the floor as soon as he can. And when that happens, we'll go from there. But there's plenty of time for him to get acclimated and start the trajectory, his trajectory upwards. So no concern.
Is there
And welcome in on a Friday. How the heck we doing? Ryan in Sacktown. Court is in session. It's King's Court, the Royal Rumble Friday. Are we going to go with that name that Haunted Horse glossed last week when we bring as many callers as possible up at the end of the day? I don't mind it. I think it's actually a good name. Well done, Haunted Horse. Is everybody ready to go? A lot going. That was Mike Brown off the top, talking a little bit to the media. First time since his contract extension. Also, it is the first time since the Kings acquired DeMar DeRozan. We can listen to some more of that audio. That was from Vegas. The Kings 1-3 in Summer League. 1-3. They've played some close games. And I don't mind the record. I'll be honest with you. It's only Summer League. I'm glad some of those guys have gotten some looks down the stretch in close games. It's good for Doug Christie. It's really good for him as he continues to move up on the bench in the pecking order with the Kings coaching staff. So who are the standouts? Have you seen anything that bugs you? Anything that you really like? Anything concerning? I got a guy that I'm really happy with his play in Summer League because I've tracked him all last year, watched him a ton in the G League, and I'm seeing a really nice progression that I'm actually excited about. Now, does it have a big influence or a big impact on the team? Maybe not, but certainly if the Kings get put in a position where injuries are a problem again, Mike Brown there at the top talking about Devin Carter. Interesting that he said he might not be in the running for Rookie of the Year because he might not play enough games. I'm really curious. It's going to be tough for this young man because remember, with his shoulder injury and surgery, he's out 6 months, or 6 months, I should say, until he's reevaluated. So he's really not even being reevaluated until right there around kind of trade deadline, all-star break. And by that time, usually you've got your rotation pretty set. So I wonder if the Kings, depending on how they're doing in the standings and what it looks like in the Western Conference, this might be a redshirt year for him. Maybe it's the best. Again, it's a torn labrum that was repaired. It's not a rotator cuff. It's something that should not cause him problems in the future. But that's a tough ask. That's a tough ask of any veteran. You remember Trey Lyles at the start of the season? Trey Lyles missed a lot of time. And when Trey came back, first couple games, boom, boom, balling out, right? And then it kind of caught up to him. And that's sometimes what happens. So we are going to do our weekly wrestling segment, by the way. Our buddy Adam will be giving us an update of everything going on in the squared circle. Do I win the Haunted Horse prize for first comment? No. Wrong show, Adam. Wrong show. That's so weird. People, why would you give a prize out for the first comment? Come on. And here we go. Now, this is not a King's Court thing, you two. We're not starting that here. Let's put that to rest. Yeah, let's get ready. Never mind. That's trademarked. Yeah. Do you know how much it costs to have him come out and do that? I heard it's insane. You're north of like 6, maybe 7 figures. What? Patrick, what's up, man? The court will have its jury later today. Yeah. That's not a bad one either. The jury. I kind of like that too. If you're not a wrestling person, you don't know what the Royal Rumble is. But then again, there's like, how do we do this? I don't know. I see a couple questions about the Malik Monk signed jersey. We're going to have a way. I haven't decided exactly how I'm going to do it. But once we get to 1,000 followers on X, that is going to trigger the giveaway. It will be live on the show. That will be for sure. It's going to be one of those things where you have to be here to win it. If you are not here, then you don't get to win it. And I've got a couple of ideas that I'm floating around. Talk to Grant about it a little too. But yes, we do have a Malik Monk signed jersey compliments of True Sports cards out in Rockland. So huge thanks to them. We're starting a little late today. Yesterday we were not on because of some tech issues, but yeah, dude, can we stop talking about the bobblehead, please? Maybe that's what I'll do. Whoever's the 1,000th follower, I'll get them a bobblehead of their own. So I'm not the only person that has their own bobblehead. Remind you, it is a gift. It's a gift, SoCal. Yes, that was the question. I will let you know when we get to 1,000. And it's going to be something here. It's going to be something fun. And it's going to be something interactive. We're not going to do one of those things where 37th comment. If you are the 37th comment in the chat, you win a Malik Monk jersey. No. I think it's going to be a progressive set of questions. That, or I had another idea of running a Malik Monk clip. So you'd have to call in. You would have to call in, but running a Malik Monk clip, whoever does the best commentary for that clip, whatever the play may be, maybe it's a dunk, maybe it's a turnover. I don't know. If you guys have ideas, certainly put them in the chat. We're open to them. This is our forum. It's not just mine. This is our community. And then also, I have another announcement we're going to make when we hit 1,000. I think a lot of you are going to like that. It'll be a lot of fun. And maybe there's a little Bennett's mixed into that. So we will get there, already at 998. But how's everybody doing today? What is up? Cap, what's up, man? You're saying that it's frustrating. The Kings are done making moves. They're not necessarily done, but they are comfortable. They're content with what they have and what they might roll into training camp with. You do have a couple of guys. I have to say this. You do have a couple of guys on the Summer League team that I am firmly convinced will be a part of the Kings training camp. Now, does it go past that? Probably not. But there are some options. I think that, and I've spoken to a few people in Vegas, there's a couple of guys that have impressed them. And it's not necessarily the scoring, it's the play. It's being able to adjust on the fly. And you think about Adonis Arms, right? He's got some arms. I know it's kind of a catch-22, whatever, but he's got some real length on the perimeter. He's really raw as a defender. The guy that I was going to talk about that I mentioned off the top is actually Mason Jones. Mason has been shooting over 50% from beyond the three-point line in Summer League, but I am extremely encouraged by the growth of Mason from when he got here mid-season last year with the Kings and the Stockton Kings specifically, and where we're at now. He came in a little bit overweight. He's admitted that, but he has really worked his way into a place that I think he could bring some real value to this team. That doesn't necessarily mean in minutes played, but in practices. If Mike Brown's got to go to him, I think Mike Brown, who even went to him at times last season, towards the end of the games, I think he's comfortable with him. And get this, he is one of those energy guys. He's a glue guy. You guys remember like Mateen Cleaves and the Bench Mob and all that from 2002? I don't want to compare Mason to Mateen, but you need that type of excitement. You need somebody on the bench that's yelling, hollering, getting up, slapping everybody when they come out from the game, giving them high fives. And Mason does that. He's vocal as hell. And his energy level, I've said it a million times, you can't help but meet him there. So positive and just a team guy. Love it. Now, Colby Jones, second round pick. A lot expected of this young man. He's the one that, if you ask most other insiders, the question that everybody's been getting is this: who could be the next Keon Ellis? Who could be the next diamond in the rough that comes out of nowhere and could really contribute with the Kings? Well, I don't think there's another quote unquote Keon Ellis in that group, but there are guys that the development is there. Colby, in my opinion, this is strictly my opinion, Colby has a ways to go. Remember, second round pick last year, but at that position, that point guard position, that is the one where I think there could be minutes up for grab in situations where the Kings need to have some fill gaps, some stoppers in there. And that's where Mason can come in. I think Keon ultimately gets those minutes right off the bat. And then who are we talking about, or who we've talked about all offseason and much of last season about possibly being traded? Kevin Huerter. All signs point to the Kings being very optimistic about Kevin coming back to this team. And with the makeup of the team, especially with more playmakers on the roster, it may open new stuff up for Kevin Huerter. And so the question for him becomes, can he play the three a little bit? I don't see any reason why he can't. 6'7", he's got some length. So anyways, get involved in the chat. Make sure that you call the show as well if you would like. Again, Adam's going to be joining us in a little bit. We will be doing our weekly wrestling update. I've also got some couple other stories for you, you folks that like to get some action. I found a really interesting article from Phil Mushnick of the New York Post. I want to read that here in a little bit. I thought it was interesting, to say the least. Cap, no Kevin Kuzma. I just don't see where it fits, Cap. I mean, Kuzma, you would have to give up, and I know the Kings still have cap room, but I don't know that Monty McNair's ready to go there yet, because, look, first we have to ask, the Kings went after Kuzma as a free agent, right? And he went back to Washington. That's the first thing. So does he want to be in Sacramento? The second thing, no pun intended, the Kings have been courting Kyle Kuzma for a really long time, and he's been high on their board, meaning Washington clearly knows that the Kings want him, or at least at one time wanted him badly. I think the price is too high, Cap. I just do. And in terms of the makeup of the roster now, I don't think Kyle Kuzma fills the gap that the Kings need to really fix. And that is that I'm going to give Jay a shout out, that power center position, that guy that can play 4 and 5. That is where the Kings are thin right now. And Trey Lyles, you got to think that he hopefully will be more healthy than he was last year. But even if you're playing Trey as that backup center, it's small ball. It's not going to work against every team. Now, you got Alex Len, who's coming back. And then don't want to leave out Jordan McLaughlin, who has come over from Minnesota as a backup point guard as well. But those guys feel like end of the bench guys. Alex Len, his improvement has been great. I feel like his athleticism, his ability to adjust with that second unit has actually been undercovered and underappreciated. But still, he's not a guy that stretches the floor out the way that you need it stretched out. And Kyle Kuzma, isn't either at that point. You're still thin at the big man position. So let's see. Ruiz, what's up? How you doing? Kuzma, not too reliable. He plays a decent amount of games. I mean, he played in Washington and here's the other thing. Kuzma likes to get his. Nothing wrong with it, especially if you're playing on a not so good team. But I think here in Sacramento it would be more of a team approach, and Kuzma's defense, so. I think this DeMar DeRozan signing really shakes things up. I think certainly there were better players available. We know that. There were better players out there for the Kings. But out of the group of the guys that the Kings had a realistic shot at, I'm going to argue DeMar DeRozan fills many of the needs that the Kings had. The burn rate, Sabonis, Fox last year, far too high. It was up to the two of them to create for everybody else, especially when Malik Monk was out. DeMar DeRozan changes that. And also, Monty McNair in the front office, they've stayed in their lane. Think about that. They're not overextending themselves and going all in with certain guys for a team that's not ready to go all in. The Kings aren't there yet. The Kings aren't there, Mikal Bridges away from possibly winning a championship. They're Aaron Gordon. They're a step or two before that. And that's why I think DeMar is such a smart move. And I know it'll be 35 when the season starts, but Monty stayed in his lane. The Kings are still, they have the ability to be flexible. They have liquidity. They have assets that have value that can be moved. If you would have brought Zach LaVine in here to Sacramento, then you would have had a major problem if Zach LaVine didn't turn things completely around and absolutely be the savior of the Sacramento Kings. Because you see what the market is for LaVine now, nearly nothing. His contract only goes up plus a 15% bonus or premium if he's traded. So if you would have got a guy like that, or even a Brandon Ingram to a degree, think about what you would have had to pay for a guy like Brandon Ingram in terms of draft compensation. And you only have Brandon Ingram 1 year. This is the last year of his contract. So what if he walks? Now you are left in a position where you don't have, which with this new CBA, draft picks are everything. Draft picks are so much more important now, and being under the aprons are essential to freeing up the things like being able to take cash back in a deal, being able to sign guys during the season that are waived, that were making $12.9 million or more. Usually those guys are the ones that would go to the super teams, the teams that already are favorites, but they want to go over the top. Now for a lot of those teams, that's not possible because they're in that first apron. So Monty is stuck to his guns, stayed in his lane. I don't think the Kings this season are done, but I would not be surprised if the Kings roll into training camp with this roster. And also Drew Timme, how about him? I'm not saying he's going to make the Kings. I think he'll probably be on if he doesn't get picked up by somebody else. I'm sure the Kings will be looking at him for the Stockton role in the G League. But, that's a Gonzaga guy. You know who else is a Gonzaga guy? Domantas Sabonis. He's a big man that's got a little bit of personality to him. He understands the game. He gets to the right places. He can shoot the three. So that's a guy to look forward to. Again, not an impact guy. I'm talking about players that you can have in this system and develop. I reported on it all last year. The player development part of this puzzle, the Kings have absolutely nailed it up until this point. Now, Lindsey Harding, head coach or ex-head coach of your Stockton Kings, now heading on to coach the Los Angeles Lakers or be a part of JJ Redick's staff. She was a big piece to that puzzle. She had a unique way of communicating with the players. Remember, she was a hell of a player herself. Her jersey hangs in the rafters in Cameron Indoor Stadium. Also a number one pick in the WNBA draft. Can we sidetrack really quick? WNBA. Did you know the WNBA still has not had a profitable season? They've not had a profitable season in the history of the WNBA. Viewership this year, average viewership is up over 100%, and they are still not profitable. I don't know what the WNBA is going to do to turn this around. I know, check this, that they are signing a new media rights deal, which it's good money. It's very good money. It is not NBA money with that rights deal. So does that change anything? But anybody that wants to say that it's strictly Caitlin Clark that is responsible for the rating bumps, they're wrong. I think Caitlin Clark gets people in the door, but I think the play overall from the ladies and some of the storylines that carried over from college have been essential to what you're seeing now. I mean, Angel Reese, her double streak, etc. But I was shocked that the WNBA still not profitable. Still not profitable. But by the way, just recently, remember, they were flying commercial up until earlier this year when it changed. There was that incident in the airport with Brittany Griner, etc. And now they get to fly private, which is a good thing. They should fly private. But anyways, a lot to talk about. Summer League, Kings. What do you want to talk about there? Summer League standouts, Summer League concerns. Anybody you want to hit on? Bronny James showing a little bit of life. Good for him. He is in an impossible situation down in LA. Really difficult. Yeah, I saw Buddy Hield's here. What's up, buddy? How you doing, buddy? Buddy, can we talk really quick? Just you and I, buddy. I promise. It's just us. I'm talking to you, buddy. Buddy, why did you say those mean things about Sacramento, dude? I don't know that the Kings Court audience is gonna take very nicely to you. You might want to apologize for what you said. You remember you were doing a shoot around thing and you're back in Sacramento and you told the reporter that Sacramento can, we'll end it there. Yeah, we're not going to go there.
What?
We're not going to go there, buddy. But, buddy, I think you owe us an apology. So, buddy, if you want to stay in the chat and maybe you want to come up in the Royal Rumble today, I would throw that in for sure. Brooke Lopez, probably not. I think that I think he's ran his course. You'd bring him on just for the 3. And here's the big deal. Sabonis, I've talked to a couple of people. That 3-point shot, that is going to be really important to the Kings this year. He doesn't need to shoot a high quantity of them, but he has to be able to shoot them confidently. His 3-point percentage is actually pretty good. The problem is he only takes just over 1 a game. And so they need to, if they want to effectively, like they did in 22-23, run the DHO on both sides of the court with Sabonis and DeRozan. Sabonis has got to be able to build that confidence up and to step into a mid-range shot confidently. I talk about how he's a great decision maker. He is, but sometimes he's not a quick decision maker. So some of these things, and we had the chat 2 days ago, we had this discussion about the Kings. There is this quiet optimism that the Kings feel like a lot of the things from last year that we saw that were troublesome, losses to teams like Detroit, to mention one, to Haunted Horses, Portland Trailblazers, another one. I know the Kings are usually good for a couple of those a year. Last year, there was too many, but there were a lot of self-inflicted wounds. Things that are like, sometimes you say things are correctable, but it's a little far-fetched. This isn't far-fetched. There are things that are easily correctable about this team that if they just do a little bit, because it's a trickle-down effect in many of these different categories of the game. If you start doing this, well, that's going to improve that. That's going to improve that. And before you know it, you could have 5 to 7 more wins this season. Free throws, very obvious one. Attempts were down 16% last year.
What?
Steve, 16% is what I said.
What?
Okay, Steve, 16.4% to be exact, Steve. All right, we good? All right. Made free throws down over 21%. That is a lot of points, and it's not just the points, it's the back end of it. Being able to set your defense, being able to do the little things, be able to set up plays, change things up, get a quick breather, whatever it is. Those are the things that are correctable for this team. So I guess what I'm saying is, although you might be concerned they're running it back to a degree, plus DeMar DeRozan, and then obviously Devin Carter, who I really believe is going to redshirt this year. I would be very surprised if you see Devin Carter play this season. It's just how I feel right now. That could definitely change, but there's a reason they're optimistic about what they have, and the Kings aren't the only ones. We talked about Tim Legler. What up, Kev? How you doing, my man? Cap, Sabonis needs help like a big or power forward. Yes, indeed. We've talked about that for a minute. Practice. What are we talking about? Practice. What practice? We ain't talking about practice. Grant is not on vacation. I don't believe he's on vacation. Grant might be popping up later tonight. We've been doing shows this week. Jake, Mason is good. Yeah, and Mason actually, he's built well. Like he does have an NBA body for a guard. He's 6'1", I want to say 6'2", maybe. I'm trying to think from the last time I was with him. 6'1", 6'2". But he's solid. He is actually fairly solid. So I think there's a lot of positive to look at there. So I'm fine with Kevin Huerter coming back as long as he isn't starting. Yeah, there's an interesting discussion there. Should Kevin Huerter still start? Remember, he's a Mike Brown guy. There's no doubt about that. Mike Brown was very loyal to Kevin Huerter, especially in some of the times that he was struggling. But I think the key to Kevin's game, we already know what needs to be done offensively. Defensively, he's not a terrible defender. I think some of the misconceptions from last year about some of the perimeter defense. Now, most everyone on the Kings was guilty of this, letting guys blow by them, giving them straight line drives to the hoop from the perimeter. But the help defense was not always there last year. And so sometimes it further exposed or made things look a little bit worse for certain guys like Kevin Huerter, certain guys sometimes like Malik Monk. But I think Kevin has it in him. He can play some D. He has some length. But all of the Kings, not just Kevin, how many times did Keegan Murray take a charge last year? A ton. That's not just a turnover for the other team. That's a hustle play. That's like one of those, it's up there. You want to be your coach's best friend? Take a charge. And so I'd like to see Kevin, and I know coming off of an injury, a little bit difficult. I would be hesitant to put my body out there as well. But he's got to try to take a few more charges. I think he does those two things. I don't think it's far-fetched to see Kevin back in the starting lineup, although I don't think having Kevin in the starting lineup is actually the Kings' best play. I don't think there's enough basketball with that starting lineup to have Kevin in there because he's more of a true shooting guard. And when you're a true shooting guard, you got to feel the ball. You got to be touching the ball. It's got to be rotated around. And that does not always happen. Let's see. Why no one want Brandon Ingram or Zach LaVine? Thought the Lakers or Clippers get them by now. It's the money. 100% the money. They don't have it. Remember, you are tied. Los Angeles, the Lakers, believe they only have $2 million to play with right now. The Clippers, I am not sure where they're at. But Brandon Ingram, first off, he's a great player. He is. He's long. He causes problems. He's a mismatch. But he's not always available. He's not. And part of the reason that I think New Orleans is moving off of him is because they're building more of a physical, move the ball around type of offense, and Brandon Ingram's a ball stopper. He's one of those guys that's an ISO player offensively. Now, you can make the argument that Zion goes one-on-one a lot, and that's probably going to continue. You're right, but Zion isn't always available. So if you're New Orleans, you've got to game plan your season for times that you have Zion and times that you don't. You saw what happened last year in the playoffs when Zion wasn't playing. Brandon Ingram couldn't do a thing, and the Pelicans go and get swept. So I think at $36 million cap, it's too rich. The market's not there. In fact, when DeMar DeRozan signed here in Sacramento, that screwed the market for Brandon Ingram. That screwed the market for Zach LaVine. It blew it up. These aprons, the CBA, those are the reasons that teams are not going after a player like Brandon Ingram. They don't want to go into the apron for somebody like that, especially Cap, if it's not going to make you a significantly better team to where you are contending for a championship. So there's a lot of reasons for it, but he's a high-end rental. That being said, there will be, I can guarantee you, if Brandon Ingram is on the Pelicans and he stays healthy and he is still playing by the All-Star break, he likely will be one of the more sought-after guys at the trade deadline by a team that's looking to just take it over the top, a team that experienced an injury. You get my drift. He would be in it. He's a perfect rental for a team like that. So am I surprised, Brandon? Nope, I am not surprised by that. Grant at Royal Troon. Dude, Royal Troon. Holy moly. That place is gorgeous. It looks like Scottish kind of Pebble Beach, I want to say. It doesn't look like your normal, USO or British, say US Open, British Open. Doesn't look like the gray, all nastiness out there. It's like really, really beautiful and challenging. So I've been paying attention to that. Shane Lowry leading the tournament right now, which is actually, I think they just about wrapped up. I'll check that here in a second. Steely Beats, what up, my man? Talking about Brandon Ingram, score anytime. Oh, Monty copies the Celtics roster. Yeah, you got to draft a little bit better, and the Kings have drafted well, but I don't think that that's going to happen anytime soon. Bane Jordan had an interview on 1140 today, seemed to have strong character. Didn't realize he's only 6 feet tall, though. Might be tough to break him in. I don't think the 6 foot thing is a huge deal. I do like his length a little bit. I don't think he's going to be a part of Mike Brown's rotation consistently, but things change. And yes, I did hear part of that interview as well. He did sound like he should. He's going into, I believe, his 5th NBA season or 6th NBA season. So, yeah, and it should tell you something, too, the fact that he's only getting paid a couple $1 million. There wasn't a big market for him. Now, it's not to say he can't bounce back and that he can't be a good and serviceable player for the Kings. I mean, the Kings, I said it the other day, they don't have a true point guard. There's not a single point guard right now, a true point guard on the Kings roster. And so if you want to look at maybe some holes, that's it. And I guess maybe you could argue, actually, we haven't really seen enough of them. You might be able to make an argument that Jordan's a true point guard, but again, shooting, that's what it's going to come down to. So I told you we are going, by the way, to be, Kevin, you got a VHS tape with the first 5 WrestleManias. You didn't get 6, man, with Ultimate Warrior and Hogan. You got to get 6. That was a damn good one. That's funny. We used to videotape stuff all the time. Speaking of wrestling, we got to get to our man, Adam. We're going to do our weekly wrestling update segment, see what's going on in the squared circle. Adam, Texas.
What's up, my man?
Wrestling man.
Yeet.
Yeet. No yeet.
Yeet.
No yeet.
Oh, boy. What are we doing here? What's up, man? How you doing today?
I'm good, brother. How are you?
Doing well. Nice setup. Looking like a professional.
if you could see what's going on underneath the camera, I got a couple new little toys that I'm gonna play with and mess around with over the weekend, and we'll probably get this thing rolling here pretty soon.
Love it, brother. Love it. So
Yeah.
we are on the road to SummerSlam.
Yeah, SummerSlam. It's shaping up to be pretty awesome. I acknowledge you, Rhino. We love that, Cap. Yeah, SummerSlam is going to be packed, and I think they've got pretty much all the matches filled out. There's one or two that maybe aren't concrete yet, but I think we can pretty much assume that Drew McIntyre and CM Punk are also going to be facing off that night. So it's going to be a stacked card for sure.
Let's start there. Actually,
cool.
We talked about the McIntyre CM Punk thing, kind of getting tired of it. This back and forth of McIntyre suspended, blah blah blah, gooba goo. But then there's the whole Seth Rollins aspect of this. Where does Seth kind of fit into this, you think?
I don't know if he does fit in. I mean, he could, but I think it all hinges on what we think is going to happen with Damian Priest, right? Because he's not going to challenge Damian Priest for the title so long as he has it. And like we talked about, I think last week, I could see that match going either way. I want Gunther to win, but I could see it going either way there.
You think they give Priest another win to legitimize his title? I don't think a win over Gunther really legitimizes the run either. And it feels like if they're going to do a title change, it probably is going to be at a big show.
Yeah, you got a good point there. You could very well be right there. I don't know. Has the Damian Priest era run its course with Judgment Day? I don't know. And I think, I don't know when it's going to happen, but I feel like the Judgment Day is going to dissolve at some point, probably in the near future. But I think we're still hinging. We're still hinging on the Rhea Ripley, Liv Morgan situation and Dom to sort of shake out. And I think it starts with that, and then eventually the whole thing devolves into I just think at this point, Damian Priest maybe has to branch out and do like a solo run without a faction.
Yeah, it feels like that's what they've been teasing a little bit. Let's stay on that point really quick about Judgment Day. You brought up Liv Morgan and Mommy, Rhea Ripley. Are you surprised that WWE, I don't care one way or the other, but they're getting a little more risque now, like with the Liv Dom stuff? What are your thoughts on that?
There's been several situations where Liv or Dominic have been put in more of a risque position. Literally and figuratively. And so, I think they're pushing the boundaries as much as they can. SmackDown will always be SmackDown, I think, so long as it's on network TV. And they'll pull that back, but that's why those guys are all on Raw. They can get away with a little bit more on the cable side of things. So, I think we're just kind of alluding to that one day that Netflix it switches over to Netflix. So, and I'm curious to see, because the Netflix stuff, like obviously they could do whatever they want there, but there's a part of me that doesn't want them to go too far. And I know AEW's like, we're the extreme brand and all that stuff, but I think there's something charming when they sort of tiptoe that line between what is like absolutely raunchy and what isn't. I got kids and I want to be able to enjoy WWE with them as well. And so, if they go too far into the blue, I believe is the phrase, I think you could lose some of the smaller children that are able to watch it now. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I hear you. I think that it's probably as far they'll go. And it really hasn't been that far. It's just been nice to see him change up a little bit. I mean,
Yeah.
certainly Triple H now running stuff on the main brand. All right. So
Kevin. Wouldn't mind Liv pinning me down. Yeah.
dude,
Get
I'm
in line, brother.
sorry. I'm sorry. Kevin, Adam, Cap, Liv Morgan. Something
That's the
about
one,
her,
huh?
man. Oh, I mean, I'll put it to the chat. I'll put it to all you. Put it to you, Adam, too, as well. Liv or Rhea? I think I'm going Liv.
I'll go Chelsea Green.
Oh, you're a Chelsea. Chelsea Green.
Yeah.
Between
Between the two, I'll go mommy.
oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah.
All right. Wyatt 6 and this whole Chad Gable thing, and now what is it? The
Oh shoot. The
Creed
brothers, the Creed brothers. Yeah. Sorry.
Creed brothers have now joined forces with Chad Gable. I feel like somehow this is going to shift to Jimmy or Jay Uso. Like, doesn't it, like the Fireflies and like some of the messages?
Yeah. I think that's gonna kind of be their shtick, is that, they're gonna target one person and then once they destroy them, move on to the next. But yeah, we'll see. I think there's still a little bit meat left on the bone with Chad Gable, and now they're bringing the Creed brothers into it. So I don't know. I can see that going for a little bit longer.
I really hope they start or they continue, because I guess they're not starting, but they continue pushing Chad Gable. I think he's doing a great job. The crowd's responding. I think at the last Raw, the crowd was doing the "You Suck" thing with his theme music, which is great for him.
Yeah, and he totally is. He totally is that like mini Kurt Angle, right? Like,
yes.
And so, there's such a part of me where I wish that he would just use Kurt Angle's theme song so that we could all chant the "You Suck" and stuff. But yeah, I love Chad Gable with Alpha Academy when they were doing the shoosh and all that stuff. I thought it was fun and lighthearted, and Otis doing the worm in the middle of the ring, like that stuff's all fun. And
yeah,
they made this switch to make him like this super heel, which is great, but I don't know. I sort of miss the old Alpha Academy, when it was a little more lighthearted and fun and silly.
Yeah, I feel you. I feel like it kind of ran its course, though. You could only go like so far with it, I guess the last thing on Raw, I don't want to stay on this bum too long. I can't watch the Sami Zayn stuff. It's driving me nuts, Adam. What's your thoughts on the whole Sami IC title?
Well, okay. And they've been doing this lately with some of the call-ups from NXT, but the Ilya Dragunov, like, I get it. Like, they're trying to shine some of the new guys, and Carmelo Hayes especially, right? But, Sammy doesn't do it for me. I can respect him because he's had some great matches that I've seen, and the dude had some killer moves at some of the past like PLEs. Like, he's hit some crazy moves as of late, especially in the last year. But I just go back, like, I miss Sami Zayn as like the master manipulator guy, and once again, I think they missed a big opportunity for him to be the master manipulator when Roman lost the title, or when Sammy exited the bloodline. But he doesn't. And here's what's weird to me is, like, a lot of people love Sami Zayn, and so I get it. He is a crowd favorite, so they're probably playing a little bit to the crowd by having him as champion, but he doesn't do anything for me. Respect the dude a ton, but
Yeah,
at least
mad
like
respect.
his ring personality doesn't do it for me. Cap, yes, Sheamus to get the IC. I would love that too. I think that's a good call out. I would love to see that match set up.
No doubt, no doubt. Let's see. Oh, thank you for the super chat, Gammon. Appreciate that, brother. He says, if you play League of Legends, my name is Nug Nug One. All right.
Gammon. Also,
to play with Nug Nug One. All right, go ahead, Adam.
Gammon. It seems like we got a little bit of a different crowd here tonight. It seems more of maybe the Grant crowd this evening, or I guess for you guys it's late afternoon, whatever. But yeah, Gammon. Just give you a shout out on Grant show. You had some killer takes the last week or so.
Cool.
All
right,
yeah.
Let's so Cap, I peruse, but full disclosure, Cap, because I don't usually see you in the chat, one of my friends works for WWE, so sometimes I get to have conversations with him and hear some stuff every now and again that's been predominantly right for the most part. So let's go over to SmackDown really quick.
Yep. Tonight on SmackDown, Logan Paul will be appearing, hopefully to sign that contract for SummerSlam for the U.S. Championship against LA Knight.
And it seems like, you know what, Cap, we're going to get there in 2 seconds. You're ahead of us. We're getting there. Yeah, it seems like it's absolutely got to change to LA Knight. They got to do something for him at this point. I feel like he's kind of at that over point where you got to put a strap on him or, you know.
He's so over.
He's over. Yes.
Everyone loves him. And you know what's funny? Like, you know, you were talking about Jey Uso earlier. But if you go back to God, what is it? Money in the Bank or something. Jey Uso had a match recently and he hit the super kick and it was like the finishing moment, right? But you didn't get any reaction from the crowd. I don't know if it's because that move is maybe a little played out. It seems like a lot of people are using the super kick or just kicks in general. And it's kind of boring to me. But, you know, you look at a guy like LA Knight, who his finisher isn't great to me either. But the dude is so over. Like, And say what you will about LA Knight. I know a lot of people think like he's a ripoff of Rock and Stone Cold and every other super popular wrestler. He might be, but he's fun. And you know, with everybody saying, yeah,
you know, he's sneaky athletic. There's a couple times in his matches lately, he'll just run over and then jump on the top turnbuckle from the ring. And I'm just like, oh crap. Like if any of you have ever been to a live show or in a WWE ring, that's like almost 5 feet. That's nuts. So
yeah.
All right. So SmackDown, Solo, the Uber driver or limo driver or whatever, he's going to get a title shot. They're killing his character. They are absolutely killing his character. This is it Jonathan Fatu, the werewolf or whatever?
The newest one, right?
Yes.
God, what is it? Crap. Yeah.
I think it's Jonathan Fatu.
Yeah, I think you're right.
That dude is freaking awesome. I love the intensity. It seems like they're heading towards a him and Orton match at SummerSlam. We've got Cody and Solo at SummerSlam. This has got to be where Roman Reigns comes back, yeah?
Ooh, I don't know if I'm ready to go there yet. I think Roman's chilling right now, and I think they're going to maybe let this thing build a little bit more. And I'm not big on like the rumor stuff, but I did read a rumor today that they're talking about Rikishi coming back in some version as like a manager. Jacob Fatu, thank you. That they're talking about Rikishi coming back as some sort of management role, maybe. Who knows if that'll happen or not? But I think it might be a little too early for Roman. I think it might be too obvious for him to come back at SummerSlam, but who knows? Like I feel like the bloodline thing is kind of spiraling downwards right now, and they need something to kind of revive that, bring it back. So maybe you're right. I hope you're right. That would be killer. He's been gone for a while, but he deserves it too. Like he deserves to chill out for a second.
And then mark my words, I think, and I said this like a month ago, I think they're building to a Cody Orton thing. And there was this segment last week where Orton's being cheesy because he's not a good face. He doesn't like being a face. And, you know, he's like, oh, you'll be protected as long as you have that title, blah, blah, blah. You know, anyways, I think they're going to turn him heel. That's going to be the fall. That's going to be the fall program. Orton, Rhodes, you've got a ton of history there. I think Roman comes back, and then you probably get the other Uso brother back, and they do, you know, kind of like up till the Rumble, probably they feud it out, and then you get the reset towards WrestleMania. Because if you give Solo the championship, that means it's ultimately probably going back to Roman Reigns at some point, which you can't do, in my opinion.
I don't see any world where Solo gets the championship. I don't, like, he hasn't done anything to deserve that, in my opinion.
He looks like a limo driver.
Yeah. The whole gimmick is just
bad.
It's not good. No, it's not good. And I think, you know, maybe Jacob Fatu helps bring this back, but the other two dudes, you know, they're not great, and Solo's not great. But you know, Jacob Fatu doesn't even get the microphone. But
that's awesome about it. You don't want him to have the mic. Dude doesn't.
And that's what Solo was. That's what Solo was.
Yes.
You know, and so now you give Solo the mic, and he's not great at it. Like I said, I think he's getting better, but still, he's just not there. And yeah, I think you're totally right. I think Randy will turn heel. Yeah. Oh, your title's safe as long as I'm around, or whatever Randy Orton said. Yeah, right. Of course. Yeah, he'll turn on him, and maybe that's the next PLE.
For sure. And lastly, let's talk about the big news. John Cena making his last run in WWE. I didn't understand. He said like the next WrestleMania won't be his last WrestleMania technically. Anyways, whatever.
He did say it will be his last.
Oh, it will be. Okay.
Yeah, so he's like, you know, the next whatever, this event will be my last. So I think we're probably in the last, 9 months of seeing John Cena.
So this has got to be, you think he's got to beat Flair's record, don't you think? They're tied at 16 world titles.
Oh, gosh. So what would that include? Which title? Is that the heavyweight?
I think it's got to be the world heavyweight.
Yeah.
Depending on, I just don't see Cody dropping it anytime soon.
No, I think Cody's going to hold on to it for another year at a minimum. I think they're going to do longer runs with some of the Universal champions, especially a dude like Cody is so over. And Roman was over too. And then you hated him, but he still held the title for, 3 years plus or whatever it was. But yeah,
Priest has had a long run,
Yeah, I mean, what? It's only 4 or 5 months, maybe something like that, right?
Since Mania,
April, May. So yeah, I mean, that's not too long of a run. I also don't like, Roman being champion for 3 years or whatever it was. Like, I don't love that either. I think it is exciting when they switch belts a little more frequently, and a year is a long time to be a champion. But I think certain people can run with it for longer than a year and their storylines and stuff, but is Damian Priest the champion for a year? I don't think so. So hopefully you're right. Hopefully it is Gunther taking it home.
Yeah, same thing with the WWE Women's Championship. Bailey is just, I don't know what she's doing.
So Nia Jax and Bailey will be at SummerSlam. I think this is totally where Nia Jax wins. And then, maybe there's some drama with Tiffy time.
My girl, Tiffy. I love me some Tiffany Stratton.
Sorry, who doesn't?
She's great.
Yeah. No, she is great. And, I think she's working on her mic skills too and stuff, but I think nobody likes Nia Jax. And so this would be great for Tiffy to cash in on Nia Jax and just be even more over than she already is. So I could see that happening.
Fush easy. All right, well, stay close.
We can talk more SummerSlam as we get closer. We got about another week and a half or so. 2 weeks.
Definitely. All right, stay close. I know you'll probably be with us for the Royal Rumble. Thank you to our wrestling correspondent, Adam. Appreciate it. We'll start talking about this Cena stuff a little bit more as it goes. He'll get to pick his last opponent. I bet it'll be Orton. I would be shocked if it's not Orton.
Yeah, I mean, I think you just bring up a good point. Maybe they do put Cena over Flair and break that tie.
Yeah, but maybe that's how you get there.
Maybe they don't. And maybe just 16 is the number to match, right? And their next superstar, whoever that may be, ends up breaking that 17 mark or 16 mark, whatever.
As long as they don't do a Kurt Angle last match with John.
please
Kurt Angle's last match was unreal. That was so bad. Who was it that beat him? It was
I'm not sure.
It was like somebody that had just come up, I think. Anyways, all right, Adam, appreciate it, brother. Thanks for picking us up. Oh, yes, Cap, my man. I'm so glad you brought that up, actually. Cap, I am captivated by this dude. This Joe Henry guy, I am literally, when I saw him the first time, and I had no idea who he was, but then the fans go crazy, and I see his little song in his video, and Joe Henry's just like this, but then he comes out, he's got this big smile, that he's looking at the crowd oh yeah, satisfied. This dude has my attention. I hope they do something good with Joe Henry. He is actually really cool to watch. I have enjoyed that for sure. We got Haunted Horse in the waiting room. We'll get to him in a second. Want to get to some of your chats. Adam hooking us up with the wrestling update. Love it. I do still have today, if you guys want to talk it, NFL over-unders wins on the season. I want to talk about Phil Mushnick's article about gambling. Found that super interesting. Very interesting. Some of the sites that I know here in California, gambling is illegal to do, DraftKings or the sportsbook stuff. I think you can do daily fantasy. Yes, you can do daily fantasy in California, but betting the games you cannot. But some really interesting stuff coming in about that, and what ESPN Bet and some of the other websites are doing with people that are actually winning their bets. It might surprise you a little bit. What else do we have? I had some more Kings content for you. Wanted to hear a little bit more from our guy Mike Brown, talking about DeMar DeRozan. Zaire Williams, by the way, being shipped to the Nets from the being shipped to the Nets from the Grizzlies. So a lot going on here in the world of sports and in Sacramento. NFL training camps. Yeah, he's got to be, Cap. 100%. Joe Henry has to be in the Rumble. I think it's great that they're doing the cross promotions with the different organizations, I guess you want to call it. But they won't do that with AEW. I know that for sure. But it's cool. Good for them. The problem is you got to book. You can't book them like trash. You know, like you got to book them kind of good, but you got to put your WWE over people. Yeah. So, am I going to watch the USA basketball team? Yes, I will take a gander at the USA basketball team. For those that didn't know, Kevin Durant still has not played, but seems closer. Up next for Team USA, South Sudan. And then I believe it is on to the Olympics. Anyways, as I said, this dude, okay. So this guy had my camera shaking last week. My ears are still ringing. And he left a ton of Diet Coke here. And I'm drinking Diet Coke during the day, something I should never do. It's all right. He does his Friday hit. What up, Haunted Horse? Back in your studio.
I am back in my studio. Where's that green screen coming from? Oh, it's over here. My green screen's sneaking out. What's up, everybody? Happy Friday, my 3-day work week, because my vacation ended on Tuesday. Hey, I do have a question though.
Yes.
This is a quote, by the way. I have Haunted Horse in the waiting room, but let's first get caught up on the chat. Is that you on some kind of power trip, Rhino? I'm just wondering. By leaving me waiting in the waiting room.
No, I just I wanted some buffer in between guests. I wanted to acknowledge the chat.
That is an inside joke, ladies and gentlemen, because I left somebody in the waiting room yesterday while I got some business done, and I was accused by my co-host Ryan of being on a power trip by leaving them in the waiting room. So
a little
bit.
Are
Are you the pot or am I the kettle? All right.
I'll be the pot.
Anyway, it's a weird start time too.
Yeah. Had to pick up the little one from school today. So
I didn't get off work till 3 today, which usually I'm out a little earlier, but I was covering for the boss. He's off today. So I got home late and then I got my workout in. I was listening to your show. Adam, good stuff on the wrestling. Maybe someday I'll watch it. You got by the way, I looked up all those female wrestlers.
Yeah.
As you guys were naming off names. I'm gonna pass.
Well, it depends on the pictures you see, dude.
I looked at all the images. I saw some where they were not in the ring, where they were posing and wearing scantily clothing and everything else. I'll stick with who's the one we like? I'm drawing a blank now. Jennifer Lawrence. I'll stick with Jennifer Lawrence. You guys can have
as long as she's brunette. She's got to be brunette. Yeah,
Silver Linings Playbook, dude. I'll take that version.
It's the best version.
Yeah, it is.
There's never been a better version.
Right,
Jennifer Lawrence.
Right.
Right.
Where's the chat at? I'm looking all over.
So NFL over-unders for most of the sports books are out, my man. You are a diehard 49ers fan, for those that do not know.
And wear my 49ers shirt. Oh, wait. Go ahead.
You're going to get a 49ers.
By the way, thanks for the hat.
Oh, you're welcome.
I got to have my 49ers hat if I'm going to answer 49ers question.
Okay. So a lot of the sites have the Niners at 11.5 for the over-under on wins this season. One book has them at 11.
I'll take the over.
We'll do the over. We'll do the 11.5. You're going over 11.5?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see a fall off from last year. Ayuk, whether he stays or not, doesn't scare me. Yeah, I'm gonna go over. I'm trying to think. So let's just go based on their division. They're gonna play the Rams twice. I say that's 2 wins. They're gonna play the Seahawks twice. Who's your quarterback? Do you guys even have one? You got a new coach. You're going with Geno? I'll say we win those. Cardinals.
You're taking
s-
both of those?
I say we
They
sweep
always
the
do
division.
that.
I say we sweep the division. Arizona doesn't scare me. I could see us giving up maybe one to the Rams or one to the Seahawks.
So I don't remember off the top of my head which division it is, but the NFC West is playing one of the harder divisions out of conference. So
Who that? You know who's hard now is NFC North.
it
You got
might
the
be the
Packers.
North.
You got the Vikings. With the Vikings, will take a step back, but you got Detroit. So if we were to play them, and then you've got the Bears, I don't see the Bears. I think they're a year away with a brand new quarterback. But yeah, that's probably the hardest division. That would make sense. NFC North, that would make sense. That would be a rough go.
So let's see.
I'd say we if we play every team in the NFC North, I'd say we go 3 for 4 or 2 for 4.
So you start off with the Jets, then you got the Jets
Win.
at home. Win.
Win.
You're on the road at the Vikings,
Win.
on the road at the Rams,
Win.
Patriots at home,
Win.
Cardinals at home,
Win.
Seahawks
We're
in
5-0.
Seattle.
Wait, what was the last one?
Seahawks
in Seattle.
Trap game, bro.
You know what? We're going to
5-15.
stub our toe there. I'll say we lose that one.
All
I'll
right.
say we lose that one in Seattle.
Then you've got the Chiefs in San Francisco.
Did they? I say win. Win
Okay.
at home. At home, it's a win.
Dude, that's a brutal stretch. You've got the Hawks,
Yeah.
the Chiefs, and then next the Cowboys in San Francisco.
Cowboys a win. We own them right now. We own
Okay.
them.
Then you're at Tampa Bay.
Win. Are they still going with the
Baker
quarterback?
Mayfield.
Yeah, Baker. Yeah, win.
Okay. Then you have the Seahawks at home.
Win.
Okay. You got the Packers in Green Bay.
What does that have a date? What month are we in? Is it cold
November.
yet?
Yep. It's cold.
November what?
It's right around Thanksgiving, November 24th.
I'll say a loss.
Okay. And then you've got the Bills at the Bills, December 1st.
Ooh. I say lose. I say we lose.
Okay.
We're on a 2-game losing streak right here.
Then you got the Bears in San Francisco.
Win.
You got the Rams in San Francisco.
Win.
You got the Dolphins in Miami.
I say we win that game.
Interesting.
I think because I believe those coaches, I believe Shanahan and what's the coach of the Dolphins? I can picture his face. Weren't they on the same staff with Shanahan's dad? I thought they were. Isn't that part of the same group? All those like thinkers, and I could have swore
Mike
they were.
McDaniel.
Yeah, Mike McDaniel. I could have swore they were on a team coaching together at one time or something. I might be wrong. I say we win that one.
Okay.
The Dolphins are so up and down. The games I think they're going to win, they lose. And then the games I think they're going to lose, they win. It's like weird. So I say they're not ready. Okay.
Then you got the Lions coming to Frisco on December 30th.
Boy. They're
going to want
you know what?
retribution,
I'll take the 49ers. If it was in Detroit, I would say we lose, but I will take the Niners at home there.
Okay. And then you got the Niners at the Cardinals to end the regular
Win.
season.
So I think I gave us 4 losses if I counted right.
Dude, that's you got a couple brutal stretches in this schedule. Seahawks, Chiefs, Cowboys, and then I would even add the Buccaneers in there as a tough stretch because you're traveling. The 10 a.m. games for San Francisco sometimes are an issue.
Buccaneers have a really good running game. And if Baker is...
Hey, I'm having a tech issue. Talk about the Bucs for a second.
All right, I'll
I
talk
can't hear
about
you.
the Bucs. You're not going to the restroom, are you? This sounds like a potty break to me. You're blaming it on tech issues. I think you're
It's not a
gotta go
potty
wee-wee.
break. My headphones aren't working, knucklehead.
Okay. All right, it's all good. Yeah, Baker Mayfield. So they got a good running game. and it's in Tampa Bay. I still say the 49ers win that game. We're good on the road, and I don't think Tampa Bay is a threat there. So let me go back to Detroit. I want to talk about that Detroit game some more. Detroit is the real deal. In fact, before the season started last year, so there was it was typical Detroit. I thought they would be in the Super Bowl, and that was against my own team, but I thought that they might be in the Super Bowl. And I even said that on the Stucknut show. So that was my proof. I thought Detroit was going to Super Bowl last year at the beginning of the season. So y'all winning 13 games without Ayuk. Ayuk is a good receiver. I think Ayuk benefits from the system. Just like when the Patriots used to have, are your headphones working?
Only one ear. Go ahead.
Okay. Just like when the Patriots used to have the wide receivers. Oh my gosh. And then they would go to other teams and they would underperform. We saw that over and over and over with the Patriots. We also saw that there was another team that
Thanks,
had
Mark.
that. What's that?
I was telling Mark, It's the AFC East.
Oh, it is the AFC East. AFC, yeah. Oh, yeah, with the Buffalo, Miami. Now, does Buffalo take a step back because they lost Diggs? They now don't have the deep threat, so they can come up a little more. The teams can defend them a little more, and maybe Josh Allen isn't going to get those runs that he used to get when they had to play back a little bit, worried about Diggs, and he had to get double teamed a lot. So now that frees up a player. I think Buffalo takes a step back because of Diggs. They're going to realize now Kansas City lost their deep threat, Tyreek Hill, and they didn't miss a beat. They changed the way their offense ran, though. They were playing more underneath, a lot more tight end. But, and then they just they had the deep threat last year with the guy that just got in trouble for, who's that wide receiver? Kansas City wide receiver.
He barely played for them. I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
but he was money going into the playoffs. He was their deep threat receivers.
So no, yes, Diet Coke does make you pee, by the way. No soda here. I got soda water. Good for you, Kevin. It's a bad habit to have. It is a bad habit.
Rashee Rice was the name I was looking for.
Oh, the guy that drops the ball.
He had wheels. Yeah, well, he got better with the drops there.
So here's a question. This is going to be interesting. Are you guys going to pay Purdy? If you guys don't win a Super Bowl this year, you're paying Purdy.
Yes. Yes, you can't. Look, you need a quarterback. We saw what Jimmy G did. I mean, we had to move off of Jimmy G. He couldn't be trusted in the fourth quarter, and he couldn't bring you back when you were down. Jimmy G was serviceable when you had a 10, 14-point lead. He could keep it close, but if you were within 3 points or whatever, that guy would throw the worst interception at the worst freaking time. And now Purdy has done that, not to the extent Jimmy G does, but he's still fresh, where Jimmy G had many years underneath his belt when he was still doing stupid shit like that. So Purdy's still got he hasn't hit his ceiling yet. He can still grow to another level. So yeah, absolutely, you got to pay him. They're too hard to find.
Yeah, but yes and no. I mean, it kind of, I guess it's not the same situation as the Giants. It just, if you pay Purdy what he's going to be asking for, he's probably going to be asked to be paid the highest in the league at the quarterback.
I don't think he gets highest in the league.
I think even by that time.
I think even he knows that he does benefit from the system. Now he can go somewhere else and get more money or whatever, but I don't think he has the success. I think it's the right player at the right time. I am not, with this next statement, I am not comparing Purdy to Joe Montana, but what I will say is Joe Montana, with the Bill Walsh system, they came around at the right time and they complement each other just phenomenally. Joe Montana, once again, no interceptions in a Super Bowl ever. Brady can't. Nobody else can say that. He was perfect in Super Bowls.
That's
So,
a
I
hell
think-
of a stat.
Now,
But-
if Joe Montana, let's just say Joe Montana, he comes up. Now they didn't have rookie deals back then, but let's just say he gets his first Super Bowl and he goes somewhere else. I think he's still awesome, but in another system, I don't know that he gets 4.
It's a decent point. I guess with the Purdy thing, though, I mean, that's going to really affect what the Niners are going to be able to do, signing players.
Well, of course, yeah, but you gotta pay a quarterback when they're getting you to the Super Bowl. I mean, what are you gonna do?
And Ayuk
Draft another one so you don't have to pay the money? I mean, man, we saw what drafting looks like when it doesn't work. Trey Lance.
Yeah, I'm so glad we don't have to hear that name this offseason. That's
Yeah.
all it was last offseason.
So that's what happens when you take a big swing in the draft and you miss.
Yes.
They got lucky that they had this guy waiting in the wings, because that would, yeah. So anyway, that proves drafting is not an exact science. We've seen a lot of top draft quarterbacks not make it, and then look at the last guy in the draft, Mr. What do they call that? Mr. Irrelevant, takes the team to a Super Bowl. Yeah, you got to pay him.
Have you been watching any of the Receivers series on Netflix?
Just one question. BJ says, sounds like a comparison. You're right. I'm not going to compare the two, but I am going to yeah. Similar though with revolutionary. Now, Bill Walsh was more revolutionary than Shanahan's. Shanahan's is a very good scheme, but it's not as like we've never seen this before as Bill Walsh was. That was something nobody had seen before.
Losing wasn't part of Bill Walsh's scheme. Shanahan just can't win the big one, dude. It goes back to his days in Atlanta.
I'm sorry, I cut you off. I just wanted to address BJ on that one.
No,
yes,
it's fine. It goes like the Shanahan thing. I feel like if they don't win a title this year, he's going to be gone. The fact they were, I do. I just feel like they're going to clean. They're going to clean up a little bit.
Look at what happened when Philly couldn't get over the top and they let big dude go. God, I'm horrible with names right now. Andy Reid go. What happens? He leaves. They do get a Super Bowl, but he starts ripping them off in Kansas City.
Okay,
so getting rid of a guy that consistently gets you the NFC Championship game, but can't get you over the top, isn't necessarily a great move.
Yeah, but it's not okay. I don't disagree with that, but the problem is, dude's had every toy at his disposal.
Sure.
Everything. You can't give Kyle Shanahan anything more, and you give him a break.
Who are you gonna replace him with that's better?
I don't know. I'm just saying you give him a break because of what happened 2 years ago in the NFC Championship game against the Eagles. That was a fluke, But
I get fans get restless and they want the new thing when they can't get the ring. I'm more patient. Look at what you guys just did as Kings. A guy that didn't make the playoffs last year, but because he made the playoffs 2 years ago, the first time in 19 years or something, you guys just extended him.
16.
And to me, it's like we're talking about not extending or not keeping Shanahan if he doesn't win the Super Bowl, yet he's got him there. I know it's apples to oranges, but it does say that it's hard to replace the guy that's there with something better when they're getting you to that point and they just can't get to the next level. It's hard. That coaching game is hard, dog.
Yeah, it is hard. It's just like when they were talking about possibly bringing in a really experienced, like past head coach or somebody, as I think even Belichick was part of those discussions at one point. But when you're thinking about bringing in what I call a chaperone at that point, because that's kind of what it is. Like they did that in Milwaukee last season in the NBA. They brought Doc Rivers in as an advisor, and then what happens 3 months into the season? He's coaching the team, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying this is your wheelhouse, not mine. I'm not Niners guy. It's just
let me point out this is not the bandwagon Niner fan that you always hate. The long-term, all the way back to the 70s Niner fan. Recently, I've gone through Mike Nolan, Chip Kelly. That's not what I'm going to say. I'm not going to say it either. I can't remember his name anymore. All of those coaches could not. Hell, we went 1-win season, I think, with Chip Kelly or Mike. I mean, just So when you've had that 10-year span of just mediocrity and Alex Smith, number 1 pick, and every year he's got a new offensive coordinator and a new coach, just a mess. To be at the top and not win it all, I'll take being at the top and not winning it all rather than going back to those days where it was just a mess. So that's why I would give Shanahan 3 more years if he needs it.
Interesting.
Oh,
So-
I saw a comment I want to react to too. If Ayuk doesn't want to be here, trade him to the Raiders for Adams and a pick. I will say this, Mark. I would be open to trading Ayuk. I think that we could get some assets back, and I don't think he would be as hard to replace as a lot of people do. I don't. If we could get a number 1 draft pick and maybe a number 2 and not have to pay that salary that he wants.
You're not going to get a number 1 and Adams. There's
No,
way.
not Adams. I'm going with my own pick, a number 1 and number 2 draft picks,
Oh,
not
okay.
for another player, and not have to pay him that amount of money, which we're going to need for Purdy next year. I would be
Right.
for that. I would be willing to cut Debo or trade Ayuk at this point, or trade Debo. I would be open to trading one of those two. I'm not someone that's like, if we don't have Ayuk, we're not gonna be able to win. No, we can still win with the weapons. McCaffrey has to stay healthy. That is the key to the whole season.
So I saw somebody in the chat put a Super Bowl prediction in there already. A way too early Super Bowl prediction. They think it's going to be Niners Chiefs again
Oh,
this year. What if you had to go off the top of your head, buddy? Who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl?
boy, I could see Detroit taking the next step. They made better offseason moves than we did. I could see them. I could see Detroit beating us in the NFC Championship game and playing. It's funny. I just bagged on the Dolphins. Gary Vee had a poll, and I said Detroit, Miami in the poll. And that might be wishful thinking. I don't want to see Kansas City again. I'm done. I'm done with Taylor Swift. I'm done with Kelsey. I would like to give the Super Bowl 1 year off from Kansas City. I would.
I mean,
But,
Patrick
that,
Mahomes, dude.
You got to knock him off.
You can't bet against that guy.
Can't be the king until you beat the king. And they are the top of the mountain. Packers, I just think they need another. They don't have a lot of offensive weapons. They need something more. They need a big time wide receiver. They need another piece. And their running back situation's taking a step back because they just lost their main guy, who's probably on the decline, to Minnesota. Once again, can't pull the name, but I can see the face. So
I'm interested to see what happens with Tua this year, just from this standpoint. I don't know if anybody saw this. He's come into camp way lighter than he has in the past. He is a lot leaner, and he already was not. He wasn't like a thick dude, you know. I mean, he was built, but he was a football player built. But I mean, with the head injuries, I'm impressed that they've protected him as well as they have. I hope that continues. I just don't with Miami. I can't get there yet. I hope they're a fun team to follow. I had a hell of a time following them on the in-season or Hard Knocks. I don't know. I like who put Texans.
You know
Lions.
what?
I wonder because I think the Lions, to me, just like last year, how they beat Green Bay or 2 years ago, they beat Green Bay in Green Bay, and Aaron Rodgers' last game as a Packer, which made the Packers not make the playoffs. I just feel like Detroit's going to be ready.
Detroit is the deal. They're the real deal. Dude.
Yeah,
they are loaded everywhere.
You
I'm
got
going to change my answer
Hutchinson
from
coming on.
Miami because your map on the board I was just looking at, that helps me. I forgot about Cincinnati. They got just dinged up last year. The quarterback was all hurt all year, and they just had a lot of problems. So I'll say Detroit, Cincy. And I would love to see the Niners go and win. And they're the favorites, or probably second favorites. I don't know if Kansas City's favorited, but I just, you always have a weird feeling that we might take a step back or stub our toe and not get back to the game. It's hard to get back. How many teams lose the Super Bowl and they just go into obscurity? Now, I think we got enough weapons. That's not going to happen, but I can see us getting knocked off in the playoffs by a Detroit team. The trick is we need home field advantage. We do not want to play in Detroit.
No, you do not want to play in. I mean, you guys were down 2 or 3 touchdowns in the NFC Championship in San Francisco.
Yeah.
But came back. I'm looking at some of the teams that are not supposed to be good. So you've got the Patriots. Their over-under is 4.5. Panthers seems high to me. It's at 5.5.
That does seem high.
Let's see. Raiders 6.5. Giants 6.5. Where's the team that I want? The Steelers. This is an interesting one to me. Steelers at 8.5. Over under. I think that's over. I think it's going to be over.
I think they're kind of a mess. You got 2 quarterbacks that think they're going to be the starters this year. That seems to me too many roosters in the hen house. I think that causes problems because who's going to start? Russ
is going to start. That is my understanding. Justin Fields is the backup.
But you got Russ starting. He has a bad game. Fields goes in there. He has I mean, I don't understand that at all. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's gonna be a mess. You know who the team I could see also getting all the way is the Texans. They just got Diggs, so they just got deep weapons. Did you? I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yes, if CJ Stroud takes the next step, which I think he will, he didn't have a ton of weapons last year, and he still balled out.
Now he's got a dude that can fly.
Yeah.
He did have that one guy that seems to be on a different team every year that's fast. Cooks is he's fast. And that dude's always on a different team. What is wrong with Cooks? Is he like some locker cancer or whatever? He's super fast, but he's always, and the only reason I know where these guys travel is because, a lot of times they end up on my fantasy team and I'm like, geez, wasn't he on this team last year?
CT Dog says under. C Dog says, or Steelers will get 9. I think the Steelers will get 9 too. Tomlin, how many winning seasons has it been?
A lot.
It's been ridiculous. And I just think if there's a guy, and this is coming from a Seattle fan, like I get Russ Wilson. I watched him from a rookie to a Super Bowl champion. When that dude's locked in, and something changed with him when he met Ciara and he kind of went a little bit more Hollywood.
Yep.
Because Russ was like the complete opposite. Dude's mindset, his rookie year and up into the second Super Bowl was brilliant, and it spread throughout the locker room. And then you saw him in Denver, right? Seattle got lucky. They traded it the right way.
Dude.
It was
Chad from Portland, used to call. He's big here, whatever. And when he's a huge Bronco fan. And when I went back and forth with him, I go, you guys just got fleeced. The dude is on the decline. And he says, everyone that was saying that, you just watch, give it 2 years, you just watch. And he came back and said, we were all right.
Well, here's the thing about Russell, and this is the point I was going to get to. Russ, you have to build a certain type of system around him. The perfect type of system is what he had at first in Seattle, where it's a defense-first team, and then in terms of the offense, it's a lot of dinks and dunks, and then it opens up the opportunities for the long ball because Russell throws a beautiful long ball. And so I think the Steelers have the potential to put some of those things around him. And if they do, I think that he's going to have a resurgence. Last year in Denver, to see him lose a fumble horse and then just sit up and watch it as everybody else is falling on it, it blew my mind. That wasn't Russell Wilson.
He is yoked up though. He's hit the weights. He's jacked up. You know what? You're talking about Sierra. He should have stayed with the chick. He'd have 3 Super Bowls if he stayed with. You know what that picture is? You know what I'm doing?
His first wife. Yes, she was a little weird.
Yeah.
They got divorced like after the first season. I want to say,
yeah, because she was like, and he's like, I need to dump you, lady. Anyway, I got that picture in my head. Peter corrected me. Yeah, Cooks has been on the Cowboys for 2 years now, so
there you go.
He's stuck somewhere. Dude, I gotta get out of here.
You got your own show.
I got shit to do.
Tell everybody where they can. Oh, you're gonna compete against me.
I am gonna go head to head with you. Hey, not my fault. You had to start late, dude. It's all good.
I'll wrap it up here in a few minutes. Tell everybody where.
No. We have totally different topics. You will talk about sports, and I'm going to talk about the Princess of Norway getting strangled by a Nazi ghost. That was a story this week. Did you hear that one? She claims that, and the Nazi ghost committed suicide in her castle when. Yeah. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. That. See. That was a story from a newspaper. I'm not making it up.
If you want to hear that, go to his show.
There you go. There you go. That's the kind of stuff we're hitting over here. We're talking football and Ayuk. He's going to be traded. And over there, we're talking about the Princess of Norway getting haunted by a ghost.
Oh, my goodness. All right, brother. Be well.
All right, man.
Have a good show. That is Haunted Horse. This is fun talk about football over-unders. If you have a team, you want to go over the schedule, go over their over-under, we will. BJ, he just got a shipment of cards. What's up, dude?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Good.
Yeah, I got a shipment of cards. I just want to say, hey, Rhino, I really thank you for having this this time. It's something I look forward to. I can kind of break away from real world stuff. I have an opportunity to work in an emergency room, and I just want to remind everybody to, hug your loved ones, love on people, and have patience with people that don't love you. Just kill them with kindness. Tomorrow's not a for sure thing, but today definitely, it's a present, and I think we each of us have an obligation to be a light in the darkness. And I just want to thank you and Grant. He's not on right now, but I just want to thank you for giving me a little bit of an escape and feel somewhat normal. I see a lot of trauma and stuff. So I get to be somewhat normal with you guys, which is really fun. So I got a shipment today, and this is a different one. I want to clarify something. The guy that you had on, the card guy, he's very knowledgeable and really into cards. Yeah, but I think there's and it's his business, and I totally understand. And there's it's kind of like people. He's into it because it's a business. Okay, so everything is monetary. There's value behind everything. And so some of these cards I show you mean stuff to me, and I think would mean stuff to other people. I don't collect cards because I'm trying to flip them or get them graded. It's just things that I like. So this one, hopefully you guys can see it. This is a
I'm going to put you full screen while you show them.
Okay.
Let me drop off so everybody can see him.
This is a 1990 Marvel. And I think it's a 9. It's kind of cool. It's an old one. I like Spider-Man. It's kind of a cool card. Probably one of my first, definitely my only graded comic card. I think it says 1990 there. Kind of cool if there's any Spider-Man people or comic people. I'm a big Vince Carter fan, and I got this card. Hopefully the reflection isn't too bad, but this is sick. It's a silver, and he's just like flying through there. And it's with his right hand. It just comes up as left-handed. This badass, man. It's a badass card. One of my favorites. I think it's numbered, in fact. Yeah, it's just 6 out of 10. So it's kind of cool. I'm really excited to have this in my collection. Yeah, and then I don't know if anybody remembers 1988. This is the Fleer sticker, and that's Magic. One of the best point guards. I still would pick Magic over Steph Curry, probably because he can play all 5 positions. But I know some of the newer guys out there, Jay, probably be like, "Wow, Steph Curry, you got to be kidding me!" But I understand. I'm an old schooler. This is the last one. This one I've been waiting for. I'm really excited to have in my collection. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully you guys can see it. This is Keegan Murray's rookie card, on card signature. And what's cool about this is that it's an optic autographs. It's called, but it's called like a green. Yeah, this one's also numbered. This one, I went on this bidding site, and I don't advise people to do that because you can go pretty crazy with it, but it's mine now, so I thought I'd share it with you guys. Anyways, yeah.
So Emran was talking about some of the Keegan Murray cards and how they actually kind of, I don't want to say plateaued, but it's kind of lower right now, and it's a great time to buy those if you're in the business of it. That is a sick card, especially it being his rookie.
Yeah. I'm a big Keegan Murray fan. The way that he carries himself, I think, says a lot about his future and how he's going to be as a professional. And I think that attitude bleeds into others. It's kind of like love and compassion and patience. That just when you're like that, other people tend to model that and do the same. I think Keegan Murray is a diamond, and I hope we don't ever move him unless it need be. But just very, I like the way he handles himself. So I'm looking forward to DeRozan spreading the floor more for him and for Herter. But I think if Herter's mindset is still fractured, maybe there's a market for him. I don't know. I think he'll be okay. I think it's going to be way different, especially if he's got to come off the bench. So yeah. Anyways,
I'm with you. Really quick on Keegan. Not a lot of people know this. Do you know why he's so quiet on the court?
No.
He used to have, growing up, or at least teenage years, some anger management issues, and especially on the court. So he got those worked on. He bettered himself, and so now he's gone to the other spectrum. So he's a great example of just continuing to evolve. Like you said, what he brings, it bleeds over to everybody else, and he doesn't even have to be, rah big verbal guy. It's his play. When you see a dude step up and take a charge in the NBA, you're putting your money maker on the line right there. No, you don't have to do that. That's why a lot of guys in the league don't, and that's huge for a team like the Kings. And to me, he's the defensive leader of that team.
I agree 100%. And I think if the Kings just approach each game individually as a blue collar and get out there and be scrappy, and we're easily pleased. You just do your best, play hard defense, slide your feet, play some help side defense, take what they give you, take their lunch, make them cry, and don't let up. And that's the name of the game of basketball, is like, expose them and keep exposing them until they stop you. That's one thing that I hope the Kings work on, is that when they expose a weakness, they just keep going and attacking it, and make, if we dictate the tempo because we're so fast, but also dictate the tempo in strategically attacking and in an intentional way, it just opens up so much more. And then I think our free throws will the amount of free throws will rise up, and then, you just get in a rhythm, and that's just a mindset, making your free throws. So anyways, yeah, I just wanted to really thank chat And the chat, I love getting in the chat and just talking smack. It's just in me. I really enjoy it. So if I offend anybody, it's all in good jokes. And I really love you, Rhino, and Grant, of course, and Jerry's a living legend. And hopefully we will have a watch party at Bennett's. That would be so much fun. I just got to get the time off, and I think we should make it happen.
Amen. Amen. It is in the cards. Grant said when he is back in SAC, we will get one of those sometimes this next season, but we're going to be planning something else. I'm going to announce it once we hit 1,000 on the X, but we're going to have a get together pretty soon.
Cool. Awesome.
So,
thanks, my man. You have a great weekend. And
you
be
too,
safe
brother.
out there, and hug and love your family, my man. Take care.
Appreciate you, BJ. Be well. Good stuff from BJ. From BJ, we bring in our man Gammon. What's up, Gammon?
Not too much, sir. How you doing?
Doing well. Nice uniform. Thank you for your service, my friend.
I like your uniform as well, but I did want to give you said X marks the spot, 1,000 on X, and I couldn't help but notice, but it looks like you got it kind of blocked a little bit with that stylish microphone of yours, but it looks like it says at Ryan and
in Sacktown. Yeah, it's by same handle right here at Ryan_in_Sacktown.
So anybody, the best way advertisement is word of mouth. So spread that around to all your friends and theirs. I did want to go over just a couple quick things. So one thing is I remember you guys were talking about the Steelers over under the 8.5.
Yeah,
a phenomenally well-coached team. You're talking about a franchise that is stewed in having as few amount of head coaches as possible.
Yep.
And Mike Tomlin is about he's always been a top 10, if not like a top 6, top 7 coach every single year that he's been in the league. But I have to take the under on them for that 8.5. The big reason is as I look at the conference that they're in. They've got the Ravens twice. They've got the Browns twice. Then they've got the Bengals twice. So just trying to get into a fist fight out of that conference. I think their defense is absolutely amazing. They do have 2 quarterbacks. I don't think they have 2 quarterbacks is going to be as much of a problem as your castmate was alluding to. Just because you have 2 and you have that duality doesn't mean it's a bad thing. But I don't see any of them. Both of them don't win in a different way. I don't see somebody who just works through their progressions, who's going through A, B, C, and D, 1, 2, 3, and 4, and then getting the ball and delivering it accurately and quickly. Both these guys have a similar style of play. So if they've got to substitute one in out for the other, yes, they'll have somebody who's younger, a little bit faster, but less experienced. Doesn't have those. That scarring and that sort of thing. But also I'm looking at their schedule. Their schedule is brutal. It's not an easy schedule. Even the bad teams that they play are still going to be tough teams for them. So yeah, I'm going to have to pick the under on the 8.5. And then as far as the last gentleman was talking about, I know I'm kind of steamrolling and I'm not giving you an opportunity to talk.
No, you're good.
But I love that Spider-Man card that you had. It really, I think that was from one of his first comics that was out there. So that was a blessing to see. I don't see this team getting to the line too much than it did this year. Now, if it does, it's because of DeMar DeRozan getting to the line more. But I don't see him getting to the line more, getting other players to the line more. I think it was a good move because De'Aaron Fox every year, as he's starting to work on his outside range and his shot and going to be more in that Steph Curry mold, he's putting himself more and more and more on that perimeter. We're treating him like he was 2 years ago, where he's more of an inside than outside guy, whereas he's starting to learn like he really needs to get that outside so that way it can allow him to go inside when he wants to. And so I think a lot of these guys are going to kind of be feasting on that. So that's why I like the DeMar DeRozan that much more, because I think you're going to see even more of a trending for Fox to be shooting outside perimeter shots, and that 18 plus feet range, and then DeRozan kind of doing that. But the only person who I really see increasing their free throw attempts is Keegan Murray, but I don't think that that's his mentality. His mentality is just to play smart, play within the offense, and he already knows that the defense is a problem. So you don't want to do something that's risky, albeit, foolish. And now that allows, a quick outlet opportunity for the other team to kind of get after us on the other end. We saw that with Serbia against the United States. They were playing a little too risky in the first quarter, halfway through the second quarter.
Yeah.
And then, bam, they were kind of getting out there on us. But yeah, so I'm not expecting that. Brian, how are you? It's Fry Dizzle. How you doing, my man?
Fry Dizzle, dude.
Fry
Loving
Dizzle.
life. Happy to be here. I'm going to take the other side of your argument.
Okay.
I think the Kings will absolutely get to the free throw line more. Jerry and I talked about this at length, and that extra point that the Kings get from Fox shooting a 3 versus everything that comes with him getting to the hoop, possibly drawing a foul, getting somebody else to the free throw line, putting the other team in the penalty, all that, and being able to set your defense too is more valuable than that extra point. Now, you have to take what the defense gives you. And a lot of times last year, the defense was giving him the 3. They were going under the screen. So he's got to take that. Here's the other thing, Gammon. The Kings all too often last year played from behind. Even a lot of the games they won, they had to come from behind, and they had large deficits a lot of times in the first half, which then it's like, all right, we're in catch-up mode. So they're chucking shots. They're trying to get multiple opportunities. I think now that you have DeRozan, I agree with you about Keegan Murray, though, on the free throws. I'll get to that in a second. But now that you have DeRozan, you have a legitimate mid-range threat. So you've got a threat down low in Sabonis, DeRozan mid-range, Fox anywhere on the court, and plus the 3. I think with Keegan and also Kevin Huerter, because of that and the attention, DeRozan a lot of times, and we're not thinking about this much, demands a double team. If he's cooking and he's getting to the line, causing problems, teams will double him. But having DeRozan at that high post and or running the DHO, that frees Sabonis up to be a little bit more down low. And he's a beast to stay off the glass. He gets second opportunities. I think he'll get to the line more. I guess what I'm saying is I don't think this team is going to be playing the rushed style of basketball. They played a lot on offense last year. I think circumstances will be different because the 16%, Gammon, you know this, you know basketball, that is dramatic. To have 16% less free throw attempts from the year before, hugely dramatic. And Sabonis plays a role in it too, in that he wasn't able to step in confidently to a mid-range jumper. Sometimes he would step into a 3, but there'd be a little hesitation. So teams sagged off him. As soon as they stop sagging off, that's what's going to open up Keegan and Kevin, especially Keegan. Tim Legler made the point, and I agree with him completely. Keegan's not going to have to create as much, which might stun his growth, but Keegan's a finisher. He broke the rookie record for 3s. Right. Let him find his spots and do what he does best and get him cleaner looks, get him more looks there. Same kind of thing with Kevin. So that's why I do think the attempts will go up, but it's going to be an interesting thing to see. I know it's a big deal in the building, and I know it's a big deal to the fan base as well.
You know what I love is when they say because his job isn't going to be as hard, and I'm in reference to Keegan Murray, that it's going to stunt his growth when all that we've seen is a highly intelligent player who takes everything. So why can't it just be he's going to amorphosize and completely adapt his game? And this is going to give him even more of an opportunity to do what he's always wanted to do, think less, play more, and play faster. So I see it that way. I agree with you. I think with certain games where I'm going to side differently with you, but I think this is the thing where I think we can both agree on this, right? Like there's that saying, styles make fights.
Yes.
I don't think this is like a basketball thing. I think this is just a sports thing in general. It's really hard to be the aggressor when you're losing on the size and the length matchup, and at least 50 to 60% of your nights. I loved Bobby Jackson probably one of the most aggressive guys I've ever seen. It was only Bobby Jackson and Barry Sanders who I could see run into the pack of like 4 people and then all of a sudden see something magical happen. But that doesn't mean that you get the whistle because you're being more aggressive. Now, if you're Kevin Durant, right, you're 6'9", 6'10", you get somebody off balance, they have to kind of lean or play into you a little bit more. They can't give you that space in between your chest and their chest because that person could be 6'7", 6'6". So they've got to play a little bit more up on you. But with that length leading into that and leaning into that, that's where he's able to draw those fouls, whereas somebody like Bobby Jackson isn't able to draw those fouls. So he's got to work with the quickness and timing, trying to get that ball over there. And that's because of the length, because of the size, which was our biggest problem when going up against the Pelicans. I still see that still being the same issue. And that's the only, otherwise I agree with you. I wouldn't be surprised if we did that 16%, that gap closed, but against certain teams, that gap is still, that chasm is still just as wide as it's always been.
Sure. No, it's a fair point. Really quick, to your first point about Keegan, I think it's who you ask, right? Because I don't disagree with you. If you're asking the national media, if you're asking basketball experts, the flaw to Keegan's game is he can't create offense as well as, say, a Jason Tatum or a guy similar, like Kyle Kuzma, somebody that can both finish and create if you need a shot. Keegan was showing the propensity to be able to do that as the season went on last year. I just think the opportunities for that are going to change, which aren't a bad thing. That doesn't technically, as you said, stunt his growth. It's what you need. If you need Keegan to be your lead player and go out and score you 50 points, then that could stunt his growth in, becoming a player like that. But I think it only grows his value and his worth to the team because it's strength finders. Anybody that's read strength finders, know your strengths, know your weaknesses, and build around them. Right. And so, I think it's going to be interesting to watch, but you're right. There are going to be some matchups that are problematic, but you know what's funny about that, Gammon? Outside of the Pelicans, the other teams that you think that would have been problematic against the Timberwolves, the Kings played.
Oh, yeah. Well. Yeah. Oh, I thought that. Oh, yeah.
So who knows? I think there's a lot to be optimistic about this year, regardless of what they do.
And I think that was poetically well put about what you said about Keegan, because he definitely, when DeRozan said, when he spoke about being just water, right? That kind of Bruce Lee, thing that he talked about, just be water. If you make me water, I could fill into a glass. I could be any shape, take on any shape. I really do think that Keegan has that fluidity into his game. And what you said, like, if you need him to do that, he must be a joy to coach. Like what you say, like he realized, imagine how young he is. And he realized, like, I need to tone this back because he's like a quiet Draymond Green, right? But he learned at such a young age that this is something that I need to, so the wherewithal, and like you said, his understanding of his strengths, his understanding of his weaknesses at such a young age. Yep. And that's why we've seen so much growth. So I love the way that you said it. I wish I could clip that and then put that on Twitter, actually, because that's how I see Keegan. I think he can, like water, can flow into whatever object that you put him in. Thank you so much, Brian, for that.
Of course, Gammon. Yeah, and then the other thing, you know what I love about him too? It doesn't matter if his offensive game isn't flowing. Right. The kid's always giving 100% on defense. Right. And sometimes you don't see that in the NBA, especially with young guys. They get flustered. They get frustrated. So, I love him. That's why he's sought after by other teams in the NBA, and the Kings are lucky to have him for now.
Absolutely. And I think that we really got to give our GM so much credit, because it hurts. It hurts so bad seeing what a successful player and a young man that Tyrese Halliburton is, but then to go ahead and then get somebody like Keegan Murray, it really gives me so much stock, so much buy-in to what this regime is doing. And if there are no more moves, I still think this was, there's going to be some people who are disappointed. You can't satisfy the masses. I get that. But I'm absolutely. If you told me that we kept, we kept Monk, that would have been a good offseason. Not great, but good, because there's no way we
Right.
get better. There's no
Right.
way that we get better. But then you're talking about then you pick up DeRozan, and I think maybe the first quarter of the season, maybe Herter isn't the same kind of guy that we see, the same surgeon or technician that we see. But I think that once he sees how much that the floor starts to open up for him,
Yes.
and he's going up against the seventh or eighth best defender on the opposing team, I think that's where our expectations need to be. And he's going to really be able to fill in the hoop in that kind of magnitude, because we're trying to place him as if he's going up against a Drew Holiday on defense or something, and that's not going to be the case. He's going to be going.
Point. Great point. And if teams are going to help, if you're going to list guys in the order on the Kings that might demand a double team, Fox, DeRozan, Sabonis. So that means, assuming, let's say Kevin Herter's the starter at 2 and they play DeRozan at the 3, that means you're choosing to hang off of Keegan Murray or Sabonis typically, or Keegan Murray or Kevin Herter.
Right.
So it only helps their games, dude. Hey, great call, man. I hope you have a great rest of your Friday, brother.
I hope you have the best weekend of your life. Have a good one, brother.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate you, Gammon. Always good stuff from Gammon. Dude's got such a professional setup. Good tone to him. Good talk. We were going to do a Royal Rumble, but you know what? Let's wrap it up. If you guys don't already know, you can go check out Haunted Horse. He's going to be on live right now. But fun week here. Sorry we didn't have a show yesterday. We will be back and better than ever on Monday. By the way, y'all, I do owe you an apology. You have not gotten King's Court shoot-arounds. Those are coming back Monday. Those will be audio exclusive. They will not be live. We will still be doing the live show, but you'll get about a 15 to 20 minute little cup of coffee in the morning on my thoughts on media stuff, whatever it may be with the Kings. Also, we can touch on other things as training camps open up, but those were always really fun. And we've got some specials coming up here on the channel. I've talked about those a little bit at length, but make sure that you are subscribed to, if you don't like that, 7,000 already are. We appreciate it very much. And also make sure that you subscribe to King's Court Twitter page. You can find the links to Spotify, Apple, where all the audio is up there. And again, we're going to be doing some audio specials, and we're going to do some live specials too. You remember Gabriel Harris, GM, Stockton Kings. That is still on the books. That's going to be a fun conversation. He'll be coming by. We're efforting before the end of the summer, the G-Man, Gary Gerald. That will be a fun conversation as well, on top of a couple other things. So make sure you're there. Once we hit 1,000, we are 2 followers away. We will give away the Malik Monk jersey here on this show. And then also I will make my announcement about a fun little thing that I've got planned for all of us to get together and say thank you and let this community finally meet in person for those that have not met yet. But anyways, make it a great weekend. I know it's hot as hell out there. Drink some water. Stay hydrated. Huge thanks to Adam. Huge thanks to Haunted Horse. Huge thanks to Gammon for stopping in. BJ, huge thanks to you as well, man. Great cards. Love the Keegan one. That's becoming, Gammon. I might start doing, BJ, you're going to get to say, we're going to work these segments out, but we're going to get more of you involved in here more regularly. And remember, if you don't like that, we will be around. Your next show from Grant and I probably will be on Monday. But we will be back again and better than ever, having some fun. I know Napes is enjoying the British Open right now. Enjoy that this weekend. And again, football training camps opening up. Hope all of the guys on your football team stay healthy. I absolutely hate, and I don't hate very many things, but I hate seeing guys go down in training camp that have worked all off season to get to this point, get an opportunity, and then have their season over before it starts. Hopefully that does not happen to anybody on your team or anybody in general. Yes, even you, Niners. I know I'm a Seahawks guy, but it's all right. Don't want to see anybody hurt. All right, make it a good one to Dora.
Holy
There
moly,
you
Jim
go.
Bowley.
Love it. Go Kings, light the damn beam. As BJ says, stay away from Levine. Court is dismissed. Don't forget about the Kings Court shoot-arounds coming back Monday morning. In fact, you might get one this weekend as well. So stay tuned. Make it a great one, everyone.